Welcome to our YouTube channel Dream Dynamics.
If you're not satisfied with your life, watch this video until the end. This story can change your life forever. There are times in life when we find ourselves consumed by a sense of dissatisfaction. No matter what we do, no matter how much we achieve, it feels as if something is missing. We look around and see others smiling, thriving, and seemingly at peace with their lives. Their joy stands in stark contrast to the emptiness we feel inside. And then the questions start swirling. Why isn't my life as fulfilling as theirs? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I have what they have? It's an all too common experience, isn't it? This endless loop of comparison, the constant longing for something that seems just out of reach. And yet the more we chase what others have, the more unhappy we become. If you've ever felt like this, trapped in a cycle of envy, self-doubt, and dissatisfaction, then this story is for you. This is not just any story. It's a story that can open your eyes to a truth so profound that it has the power to change your life forever. Take a moment to breathe. Let your mind quiet down. And as you listen to this tale, allow yourself to see its wisdom and let it settle deep within your heart. Once, in a quaint little village surrounded by lush green fields and gentle rolling hills, there lived a young man named Arjun. To anyone on the outside, Arjun's life appeared perfectly normal. He had a small home where he lived peacefully, a simple but steady job that kept him fed, and a close-knit community of kind and generous people. But deep within his heart, Arjun carried a secret, a growing weight of unhappiness that he couldn't shake. No matter how much he tried to focus on the good things in his life, he couldn't help but notice all the ways he thought his life fell short. When he walked through the village square, he saw merchants surrounded by gold coins, laughing with their customers and boasting of their wealth. If only I had their riches, Arjun thought, I'd finally be happy. When he passed the farmers working in the fields, he envied their strong, healthy bodies and the satisfaction they seemed to find in their work. If only I had their strength and purpose, I'd feel proud of myself. He wondered if the golds and papers he saw on the street were nothing. And when he saw the village couples sitting together under the shade of trees, sharing quiet moments of love and companionship, he felt a pang of loneliness in his chest. If only I had someone who cared for me like that, he whispered to himself. Then my life would be complete. These thoughts consumed Arjun day and night. He couldn't help but compare every part of his life to what he saw in others. The more he compared, the more he became convinced that he wasn't enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not good enough to deserve happiness. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, this sense of inadequacy began to affect every part of Arjun's life. He withdrew from his friends, avoided the village gatherings, and spent most of his time alone. Even the things he used to enjoy, like watching the sunset or walking by the river, no longer brought him peace. Unknown to Arjun, a wise Zen monk named Master Ryokan had been meditating under the same tree. The monk was known throughout the land for his deep understanding of life and his ability to guide those in need. A single tear from Arjun's face fell and landed on the monk's hand, awakening him from his meditation. The monk opened his eyes and saw the young man weeping. His face, though serene, showed concern. "Young man," the monk said gently, "why do you cry beneath this sacred tree?" Arjun was startled. For a moment he hesitated, unsure if he should speak. But the monk's kind eyes encouraged him, and soon the words poured out like a flood. "O wise one," Arjun began, "my life feels like a curse. No one values me, no one sees me. Wherever I go, people ignore me, or worse, treat me poorly. I'm not smart enough, not talented enough, not important enough. Everyone else seems to have better lives, better opportunities. I feel like I'll never be good enough. Sometimes I think it would be better if I just disappeared." The monk listened intently, his expression calm but compassionate. When Arjun finished, the monk said, "I understand your pain, young man. Many feel this way at some point in their lives. But tell me, what do you truly want? What do you believe will bring you happiness?" Arjun thought for a moment, wiping his tears. "I want to be someone else, someone who is loved, admired, respected. I want to be the kind of person people look up to. I want a life where I feel important." Master Ryokan nodded thoughtfully. "It is natural to feel this way when we are lost in despair. You believe happiness lies in becoming someone else, but before I grant your wish, I have a task for you. Go and meet 3 people whom you envy. Learn about their lives, their joys, and their sorrows. Once you have done this, return to me, and we will decide how to proceed." Arjun agreed, hopeful that this journey would lead him to answers. Arjun's first stop was the bustling marketplace in the city. The place was alive with activity. Vendors shouting to attract customers, the clinking of coins exchanging hands, and the chatter of buyers haggling for the best price. The air was thick with the smell of spices, freshly baked bread, and the faint metallic tang of the blacksmith's forge. Amid this vibrant chaos, Arjun sought out the one man he had always admired from afar, the wealthy merchant. This man was a figure of great renown, known far and wide for his immense fortune and vast business empire. He lived in a grand mansion on the hill, surrounded by gardens so lush and vibrant that even kings would envy them. His name was synonymous with success, and his influence stretched across the city and beyond. As Arjun approached the merchant's stall, he couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and envy. The merchant sat on a finely carved chair, draped in luxurious silks, his fingers adorned with rings that glittered in the sunlight. Around him, servants bustled about, fulfilling his every command with precision and deference. Customers and admirers gathered around, eager to gain his favor or simply catch a glimpse of his opulent lifestyle. Arjun took a deep breath, his heart pounding as he stepped closer. Finally, he mustered the courage to speak. "You must be the happiest man in the world," Arjun said to the merchant, his voice filled with curiosity and admiration. "You have wealth, power, and everything a person could ever desire. Surely your life is perfect." The merchant looked up at Arjun, and for a moment there was a flicker of something in his eyes. Was it sadness? Fatigue? Arjun couldn't quite place it. The merchant smiled, but it was not the smile of a man overflowing with joy. It was a weary smile, the kind that hinted at burdens hidden beneath the surface. "Young man," the merchant said, his voice steady but tinged with a quiet heaviness, "appearances can be deceiving. Yes, I have wealth, more than I ever dreamed of when I was your age. I have power, influence, and respect. But do you know what else I have? Endless worry. My riches may seem like a blessing to you, but they are also a curse. Every day I live in fear of losing what I have worked so hard to build. I cannot sleep peacefully at night because my mind is consumed by thoughts of my business, my investments, and the people who might try to cheat me. Every coin in my possession feels like a weight pressing down on my shoulders." Arjun was stunned. This was not the answer he had expected. "But surely, with all your wealth, you must have peace of mind," he said. "You can afford anything you want. Doesn't that bring you happiness?" The merchant shook his head slowly. "Happiness?" he repeated, almost as if the word were foreign to him. "Happiness is fleeting when it is tied to material things. Do you know what hurts the most? People respect me, yes, but not for who I truly am. They respect me for what I have, my money, my power. If I lost all my wealth tomorrow, do you think they would still stand by me? No, they would turn their backs on me in an instant. Sometimes, he continued, his gaze drifting off as if lost in thought, I envy the farmer who lives a simple life. He may not have gold or jewels, but he has something I have never known: peace of mind. He rises with the sun, works with his hands, and sleeps under the stars with no worries to haunt his dreams. His life may be humble, but it is free from the chains that wealth has placed around my heart. Arjun stood there, speechless. The merchant's words had struck a chord deep within him. He had always believed that wealth was the key to happiness, yet here was a man who had everything Arjun thought he wanted, and still he was unhappy. Thank you for your honesty, Arjun said finally, bowing his head. I never thought of wealth in this way. The merchant smiled again, this time with a hint of warmth. Be careful what you chase in life, young man, he said. Sometimes what you think will bring you happiness only adds to your burdens. Arjun thanked the merchant and walked away, his mind swirling with new thoughts. If wealth wasn't the answer, then what was? Determined to find out, he decided to follow the merchant's suggestion. His next destination was the countryside, where he would seek out a farmer and learn what his life was truly like. After a long and tiring journey, Arjun finally arrived at a quaint little village, nestled among rolling hills and lush greenery. The air was filled with the sounds of chirping birds, the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze, and the distant laughter of children playing near a stream. The village was simple, with mud houses and narrow dirt paths, but it had a certain charm that seemed untouched by the chaos of the bustling city Arjun had left behind. As he walked through the village, Arjun's eyes searched for the farmer he had heard so much about. Eventually, he found him in the middle of a field, bent over as he worked tirelessly under the scorching sun. The farmer's clothes were old and worn, patched in places, but they carried the marks of honest labor. His hands, calloused and rough, moved with precision and familiarity as he sowed seeds into the soil. Despite his hard work, there was a sense of calm about him, a quiet determination that spoke of years spent toiling the earth. Arjun approached hesitantly, not wanting to disturb the man at his work. But the farmer noticed him and paused, wiping the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. "You come a long way, traveler," the farmer said, his voice warm and welcoming. "What brings you to this humble place?" Arjun smiled and bowed his head respectfully. "I've been on a journey to find happiness," he said. "I spoke to a wealthy merchant in the city who told me that, despite all his riches, he envied your life. He said that you, with your simple and peaceful existence, must be the happiest man in the world." The farmer chuckled softly, shaking his head as he leaned on his hoe. His laughter wasn't bitter, but it carried a note of quiet understanding. "Ah, young man," he said, "things are not always as they seem. Life here may look peaceful to an outsider, but it is far from easy. Every day I rise before the sun, and I don't rest until it sets. My hands work tirelessly from dawn till dusk, planting, tending, and harvesting, all to ensure that my family has enough to eat. But, you see," he continued, his tone turning somber, "this peace you speak of comes at a price. One bad harvest, just one, and everything falls apart. If the rains don't come, or if pests destroy the crops, we face hunger and hardship. My children's future depends on the whims of nature, and I can do nothing to control it. I may live simply, but my heart carries the weight of uncertainty every single day." Arjun listened intently, taken aback by the farmer's words. "But you must take comfort in the love and respect of your family and your community," he said. "Surely that brings you happiness." The farmer smiled faintly, his eyes reflecting a mix of gratitude and weariness. "It does, to some extent," he admitted. "For there are days when I envy others, just as the merchant envies me." Take the soldier, for example. He has a steady income, a roof over his head, and the respect of the people. His life, though dangerous, seems far more secure than mine. When I struggle to put food on the table, I can't help but think that the soldier's hardships might be easier to bear than my own. Arjun was silent for a moment, digesting what the farmer had said. It was not the answer he had expected. He had thought the farmer would be content with his simple life. Yet here he was, yearning for the stability and respect that he believed the soldier enjoyed. "I see," Arjun said finally, bowing his head in gratitude. "Thank you for your honesty. You've given me much to think about." The farmer nodded. "Happiness is a strange thing, my friend," he said. "We often think others have it easier, but everyone carries their own burdens. Perhaps you will learn more on your journey." With those parting words, Arjun thanked the farmer once more and continued on his way. His next destination was the nearby garrison, where he hoped to find a soldier and hear his perspective on life. The farmer's words echoed in his mind as he walked. Could it be that even those who seemed strong and secure face struggles of their own? Arjun was determined to find out. Finally, Arjun met a soldier standing guard at the city gates. His uniform was immaculate, and his posture exuded strength and confidence. "You must be the happiest man in the world," Arjun said. "The farmer envies your steady income and the respect you command." The soldier shook his head with a sad smile. "Respect and income come at a cost. I risk my life every day. I never know if I'll return home to my family. I've seen comrades fall in battle, and their faces haunt me. My life is full of duty and danger. Sometimes I envy the wanderer who has no obligations, no burdens, and no fear of death." Arjun was stunned. Each person he had envied carried burdens he had never imagined. No one's life was as perfect as it seemed. He returned to Master Ryokan and shared all that he had learned. "O wise one," Arjun said, "I now understand. I thought others were living perfect lives, but everyone has their struggles. Happiness doesn't come from being someone else. It comes from accepting and appreciating what we have." The monk smiled. "You have discovered a great truth, Arjun. Comparison is the thief of joy. We look at others and see only what they show us, not the full picture. True happiness lies not in having more, but in wanting less, and in being content with who we are." The moral of the story is a profound reminder of a truth many of us tend to overlook in our fast-paced, comparison-driven lives. In the hustle to keep up with others, we often measure our worth by what we see around us, believing that someone else's life is easier, more fulfilling, or more perfect than our own. We look at the wealthy merchant and envy his fortune, at the farmer and wish for his simplicity, and at the soldier and long for his stability. But the reality is that every person, no matter how fortunate or seemingly content, faces their own unique struggles and fears. The merchant, with all his wealth, is consumed by the constant worry of losing it. The farmer, though living simply, carries the heavy burden of uncertainty and the risk of failure. The soldier, admired for his bravery, faces danger every day, knowing that his life could change in an instant. No one, no matter their station in life, is exempt from challenges. What we fail to realize in these comparisons is that true happiness doesn't come from changing ourselves or wishing for someone else's life. Instead, it comes from shifting the way we perceive ourselves and our circumstances. The key is to embrace who we are right now, with all our imperfections and struggles, and to recognize the blessings we already have. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we open the door to a profound sense of peace. We begin to see that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's just a different shade of green. We have our own unique journey with our own set of gifts and challenges, and that is something to be cherished, not compared. By cultivating gratitude for what we have, rather than longing for what others possess, we can find a happiness that is deeply rooted within. True contentment comes from appreciating the present moment and the blessings we often take for granted: our health, our loved ones, the opportunities before us, and even the lessons that come from hardship. Remember, you are enough just as you are. You always have been. The secret to happiness lies not in wishing for more or different circumstances, but in embracing the beauty of your own life with all its ups and downs. Gratitude is the key that unlocks lasting peace and joy. When we start to see our lives through the lens of thankfulness, we realize that we are already living a life of abundance. No one can take away the inner peace that comes from truly appreciating the unique blessings of our own journey. So, let go of comparisons and start to cherish the life you have. Be kind to yourself. The happiness you seek is already within you, waiting to be discovered through the simple act of gratitude.